Caro, Kusi Olori Shuro. Or in other words, good dawning and welcome to Chief Speaks on Enlightenment and Transformation. My name is Chief Yuya, and of course, I want to welcome all of you who are listening live right now, whether you're listening from Blog Talk Radio or you're listening from YouTube, and especially those of you who have come in afterwards through the archives, whether it be through YouTube or again, whether it be through Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, wherever, because things kind of tend to spread around a little bit. But this is the first show of the month, and as you know, many of you regular listeners know that each month we have a different theme, and this being the first show of October 2016, we're dealing with the theme of the magician, and it's kind of a special month because now we're dealing with the 10th month in the Roman year of 2016. So that means now we've started over. We've started our number pattern over. We've gone from January to September, which was our, first to the 9th. And now we're going back to 1 again with the addition of a 0. So that 1 and that 0 gives us an opportunity for seeing, that's the 1, and not seeing, that's the 0. So in that blink is where you process, take in, synthesize, take in, synthesize. So that's the 1 and the 0, the October that we're dealing with right now. And again, the topic is the magician. So, there's a method. There's always a method to everything that's being done. And, in time, things will be revealed a little bit more for everyone's comprehension. But before we get into this topic, I want to definitely send a hearty shout out to all of those who participated in last Sunday's show, which was a live student panel. And we had some students call in and share, and we had some other people call in and share and, seek out some information and just give some testimony of where they're at. So I want to thank everyone who called in for that. I was able to tune into some of it, so I actually heard some of it. I was busy. Well, not busy. I was preoccupied this past Sunday, but I was able to tune in and catch some of it. And, it's just getting better and better, as I'm sure those of you who listen have noticed. Those last Sunday of the month calls, if you can hear them, they're getting there, and I know for a fact, for a truth, that that's not just a product of our new spiritual training, though they all attribute it to that. It's not just the training that I've given everyone. It's the community, it's the camaraderie, it's the fellowship that they've created amongst themselves, those students and those regular callers, especially the ones who call in regularly to the community show, which is twice a strong, excuse me. Now there's a certain flow coming because people are able to feel each other's energy a little bit better and anticipate what each other is intending. So the gathering and the fellowship and the camaraderie and the aspirations towards unity are very valuable, and you can see them working when you hear all of the students speak together and bounce ideas off of one another and try to assist each other in their journey. You hear the fluidity improving. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who's participated. And also, before we get into the show, I wanted to issue an official apology on my behalf. I know that many of you have signed up for some of the classes on sedulhouse.com, and you had a little trouble accessing, like after you got the class, you had a little trouble seeing the classes in your class list. And that is something that we're working on. The site currently is utilizing a lot of different software from different places in order to make things happen in a way that's automated and that's supposed to be smooth. And we're having a little trouble sometimes with the different packages speaking to one another. Okay, so what usually happens is for some people, not everyone has had this issue, just a few people where they've signed up for a class, and then when they looked in their class list, it didn't show it. It didn't show them as being registered, so they had to send an email, and then we registered them for it on the back end. So we're working on that right now, and I should slash we should have a solution very soon. But I'm going to take the responsibility on that one because enough um, calls have been brought to my attention for me to know that okay, something's off. So I'm actually in talk with the developers of some of those software packages now to find out what the heck is going on. All right, so I just want everybody to know that we're working on that, and I know it just causes a little delay when you get to class. Probably sometimes right there and get right there you want to start on it, and then you have to send an email, and then we register you for it, which usually, I mean, it only takes a couple minutes, but still, it's supposed to be all automated. So we're working on that. All right. So I just want to apologize for any inconvenience that it may have caused anyone with that, but we're on it. All right. So I'm going to get into this Sunday's topic, this Chief Speaks topic, the magician. And I know a lot of you may possibly think that, okay, because we're talking about magic now, he's off of the cultural stuff or whatever. But no, it's all one thing, and really quickly, that is the guiding definition that we really need to start maybe looking at with a more serious eye when we talk about magic. Or really, we're talking about the magician. There's a difference. I mean, you have magic, which is the art, of course, and then you have the magician, who is the artist. A magician is an artist, and an artist is a magician, a true artist. So the idea of moving through the world as a magician connects you to the idea of moving through the world as a manifester, as one who's able to move instantly from thought to realization. Okay, and that's basically what magic is. It's the way you do things. It's the art of how you do things to shift and alter the subconscious in order to manifest things. Okay, but ultimately, any form of magic, any form, is really about removing things out of the way. That's basically what it is. It's getting from point to point and removing the clutter. So sometimes we have to remove our misconceptions. We have to remove our egoic binds. We have to remove our sense of history. We have to remove our sense of identity and personality. So many things have to be moved out of the way in order for us to function purely with our consciousness. And functioning purely with consciousness removes us from the bondage of time and space. When we're functioning from a point of pure consciousness, there is no time, there is no space. Time and space are attributes of gender. In time you have the masculine, in space you have the feminine. Okay, so time and space are male and female, respectively. And when you're functioning from a place of pure consciousness, you're not bound by duality. Okay, so I mean, sometimes we try to say, okay, well, the dual aspect of consciousness is unconsciousness, and the only reason we use ideas like someone being unconscious, one, because it makes us feel sometimes a sense of superiority to that individual, but often the ideas are just a product of lack of unfolding of the higher awareness of our own consciousness. All things are conscious. Everything is conscious. All people are conscious. It's just that some can articulate what they see better than others. So if you're able to articulate, you say, okay, they're conscious, and it's a very thwarted way of looking at things, because you're basically saying, sometimes we say, well, you're not conscious, this person is dead, or this person is asleep. And even though we use those terms, try to use them more conceptually, because you're really only saying that they're not communicating on your level. So that's maybe one of the same reasons that people mistreat animals, or mistreat children, or mistreat the elderly, or plant life, or the planet, because they feel like, well, if it doesn't communicate on my level or communicate in my way that I communicate, then that means it must be asleep. It must not have any sentience. It has no feelings. Okay, and that's certainly not true. Um, so magic, or the idea of the magician really sees much from the equilateral horizontal plane, and from the horizontal plane, all things are even. Okay, dissimilar from the vertical plane, where we have a acknowledgement of hierarchy. There's something above, there's something below. But from the horizontal conceptualization, that idea says that all things are equal with one another. So when you're functioning from a magical standpoint in your life, what it is that you're seeing all of the connective realities in the world as being a part of one grand statement. Okay, so you don't necessarily, if you're walking down the street and you see a red vehicle, or a butterfly passes in front of you, you see nothing as happenstance. You see all of those occurrences as a part of a greater work, of a part of a greater plan. And even your presence in the now is a part of a greater plan. The fact that you still exist in this form means that there is still something for you to do in this form before you go to the next form. Our magic becomes more powerful. And I want to use, before I finish that statement, I want to use the idea of manifesting as an interchangeable concept with magic as we speak. So your power of manifestation, or your power of magic, becomes more powerful the more you are able to become the receptor. The receptor is the one who has understanding. So that's why you have certain symbols like of the calabash in the Yoruba culture, or of the cup in many other cultures. And the cup represents that which is receiving. And when something is being received, you're receiving understanding, or you're receiving understanding. Like if you have a cup and water is poured into it, water is consciousness. So to hold the consciousness is to understand the consciousness. It's symbolically, right? So the more water we hold, the more our consciousness expands, because the cup gets bigger, the calabash gets bigger. And then the more that we comprehend, the greater the surety that we have in our power. Because much of what you do magically is dependent upon the faith that you put in yourself. You have to be able to say, I'm going to manifest this, and that's that. Magic is manifestation. And manifestation is only possible when you connect yourself with the idea of a more source, a more high presenced consciousness. When you can say, I am that consciousness that just flows without encumbrance, that flows without hindrance or obstacle, then you're able to manifest. And what we often do through our ritual work is we conjure up different rituals and different activities in order to remove the blockages of our harmful thoughts. So we may dance, we may sing a song, we may drum, we may go through certain ceremonies, and through the process of those ceremonies, or the music, or the singing, or the chanting, or whatever it is, we're removing the blockages of the conscious mind to allow that flow that we already have inside of us, the flow to just come out. So just like if you say, man, I want to go buy 10 square miles, in Belize, and form my own town, right? And then you'll start thinking about, man, that would be so cool. We can name the streets after this. We could put these type of signposts up, these type of structures, this, that. We can police in this way, or have no police, or what. But you start to visualize these things. It's a very easy flow. But then when it comes to manifestation, the moment you say, okay, how would I get that done? You now start to become more goal-centered. And this is where the contradictions come in, because I think I did a show on goals before. But sometimes goals can be your biggest enemy. Being a bit too goal-centered, it creates this this disassociation, or this disconnection to the moment. You almost miss the moment. You miss the lessons in the moment. You miss the value in the moment because you're looking so far beyond. And the mind of the magician, the mind of the of the manifester, is always focused on what's happening right now, because the magician understands that whatever's happening right now is a necessary occurrence, and that necessary occurrence needs to be lived out fully, and it may be lived out again and again and again and again until there's a sense of mastery of the moment. So for example, the individual who throws the winning touchdown pass in a championship, well, that same pass they've thrown 10,000 times. When they were a child in their backyard and they had the tire hanging from the tree, and they would swing it back and forth and just throw and throw and throw the ball through the tire. It was the same exact pass, right? But by doing it over and over and over and over, sometimes in different environments, they came to a place where they could master that precise moment of doing that precise action. And then once that moment was mastered, they were able to move on to another moment. So it becomes critical that they are always in the moment. Okay, and then there's a lot of things that we can look at like that. For some, it's a job interview, and a job interview may be related to other times where they have to socialize, or they have to sell their qualities, or show a sense of confidence about their own qualities, or whatever it is that happens in the moment of a presentation or an interview, or approaching someone that you may be attracted to. And it may have to happen over and over and over and over and over again until you fully master the moment. And sometimes it doesn't happen the first time around. Sometimes it has to happen 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 times. That's why a lot of times when you're doing spiritual work and you're given a ritual and you're attempting to manifest something, let's say if you say, okay, I need $5,000 by the end of the month, and you do a ritual to manifest it, and the first time out you get a nickel, 5 cents, for international listeners. And then, you say, oh man, but I needed 5,000. So then you do it again, you get 50 cents. Try it again, you get $5. Then you get $50. You try it again, and you keep trying it until you get your 5,000. You see? Well, in each moment that you were attempting to try it over and over again, there was greater light that was growing inside of you in each moment. And the more the light grew inside of you, the more you were able to master the moment that that ritual created. It's like there was a incident recently. I'm trying to remember the artist's name. I can't remember his name right now. It may come to me. But there was a tribute to Biggie Smalls that was done, and they did. I think they did "Good Get Money," the song "Get Money," and he forgot the lyrics on stage, right? So there was a whole lot of backlash. I don't think it was Rich Homie Quan. I don't know. There was a whole lot of backlash behind it. Like, how could you forget that? He's this, he's that, he's that. And ritual is very similar. The first time you may go and do something as a magician, as a manifester, you may have to be more focused on the mechanics. So, for instance, you may have to read a book or read notes, and you're kind of reading and you're saying, okay, light the candle. Where's my candle? Oh, I don't have a lighter. And you say, okay, I have to have F phone. Oh, I didn't pick up the F phone. I wonder if I could just use chalk from the store. Oh, you can't use chalk. So you go through all these little different things, and maybe you do it, and it's a little, it's a little shaky. So it doesn't completely accomplish what it's supposed to, because your consciousness wasn't shifted at the level that it needed to be. So then you do it again. And then maybe you're a little smoother, and you do it again, you're a little smoother, to the point that you could do it with your eyes closed. And that ritual becomes something that's alive inside of you. And the liveliness, the animation of the ritual within you is the indwelling of the light, you see. And when that light comes alive in you, you master the moment that that ritual is trying to give you, is trying to teach you, you see. So the mind of the magician understands that. It understands that it may have to go through many moments of things in order to receive what it's supposed to. And if it's still here on the earth, if you're still here on the planet, there are still moments that you need to go through, and that's an important thing. It's very important when you're looking to manifest, because of course, the longer we're here, the more egoic, often, the more egoic we become. And when someone presents information to us and says, you could have went left when you went right, or maybe if you would have said something this way, it would have come out this way, or they just say straight up, you're wrong. It's very hard to accept that at times, because you've done something so many times, you feel like, well, I must have mastered the moment. But if you haven't moved beyond it, you have not mastered it. Think of the things that you struggled to do years ago that you don't care about today. You remember tying your shoes? Remember that? Who thinks about it now? Remember multiplication? Who thinks about it? Remember fractions, algebra, trigonometry, geometry. So many things. Walking. Hanging on the monkey bars, swinging on a swing. Remember you had to figure out when to kick your legs out and when to pull them back in, and know for sure that you weren't going to fall off no matter how high you went. Remember that process? Who thinks about it now? You probably don't care, right? Because you've mastered those moments, so you were able now to move on to something else. When you figured out how to swing, what'd you do? You look around the park for the next thing to do. Oh, I want to go get on the seesaw. And you figured out how to do that. You say, oh, I'm going to go get on this. Until you did everything in the park. Now you want something else. Now you want to go to an amusement park. You want bigger rides, bigger adventure. You see? So our movement through the world is no different. It's a constant series of reoccurrences that happen for us to master. And the rituals that we do, whether it be prayers or affirmations or meditation, all they are different, almost like just different mood setters to set the mood for the streaming of consciousness. Like how, like right now, for some of you who are listening to this online or you're watching on YouTube, it's streaming from a server. You know, you're for the most part you're not getting the whole file while you're watching it. It's just a live stream, and even after the live stream, there's an archive stream of data. So the stream is always ready to come through, but sometimes your connection is messed up. Sometimes you're not sitting still and you're passing through an area where your data is going up and down, you know. So you're not able to get a clear stream, but the stream is there. The stream always is moving. The stream has always been there. The stream will always be there. So it's just it's on you to be able to flow inside of it. So you have these little rituals and these affirmations and these spells that you do, and all of these different things. What they do is they open up a different lane of the stream inside of you. So sometimes you hear me refer to different spiritual archetypes as streams of cognition, right? And those different streams of cognition are always broadcasting. They're always on. And as our consciousness expands and our repertoire of activities expand, we figure out how to open up the stream inside of us for certain things to flow, and to flow so smoothly that they manifest instantly. See, that's the key. You know, just as quick as your thoughts move, which thoughts are still subject to dimensional restraints. Consciousness just moves around how it wants. And I did a show on the movie Interstellar. I think that show came out that movie, came out in 2014. So maybe my breakdown was around then. I can't remember when I did it. It may have been 2015, 2014. But one of the points that I brought out in that breakdown was that the substance or the force that can transcend not only dimensions but realms is love. And that's what that movie showed. That's really what it really was about. You know, if you get a chance to check it out, it's a good movie regardless. But look at the love factor there and how love stays through dimensions. It's a very interesting and powerful force, because some dimensions you go to, time is not relevant. Other space is not relevant. You know, you go from there to there in an instant. So time is not there, space is not there, light may not be there, darkness may not be there. But love is the congenial force that brings things together. It connects things, it congregates. And that's the force that allows you to go from dimension A to dimension B to dimension C, because there's a pull. There's something that's pulling you through each dimension, that's pulling you through. You see? So a lot of times when think about, again, love, if you think about your different deities of the water, a lot of them are associated with streams and rivers and waterfalls, and of course the concept of love. So if you think about it, again, it's a stream, it's a flow, right? And when we're able to unblock the flows, just like we unblock the chakra streams in our bodies, you know, when we're able to unblock that, we're able to manifest at the levels that we may imagine, you know. And there's a process to unblocking. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a big advocate of those who promote how they can unlock all of your chakras in like 5 minutes. In some instances, that can be dangerous. For one, I don't feel it's as possible as people claim it is. I think what people think is unlocking is not that. You know, sometimes we have a misconception of how manifestation or spirit, or the manifestation in the presence of spirit, really truly feels. You know, like for instance, when we feel like we're in the presence of God, what do people say? Oh, I feel love, I feel protected, I feel light. Well, the challenge there, and the magician knows this, because the magician and the manifester looks at things holistically and strives not to confine themselves within the borders of duality. if we say, because many people say like light and love, light, we're beings of light, we're beings of light, you want the light. Well, there's no light in light. So if I want light, I can't look in the light. If I want light, I have to look in the dark, because light doesn't cradle light. Light expels light. Light pushes light away. This is why someone asked me recently about men, and he was saying that he would love to work with men a little bit more, but he finds that sometimes there's a little combat there. When you come with information, they want to come with their information. Yeah, because light pushes light. Darkness intermingles with light. Darkness cradles light. Darkness gives light a home. No different than how women give men a home. They give them a place to deposit their light. So if you're looking for an idea of a heavenly deity, it's best to look in the dark. And the magician understands that. The magician has the ability to see light anywhere, and see light from anyone. It's not just the person who comes and is speaking softly and makes you feel comfortable and says things in a way in your mind that are decorous, or that are polite. We'll just say polite. Oftentimes, the greatest wisdom will come from the darkest places. And this is why darkness is an energy of transformation. You see, because you're transformed through love. And love is that stream. It's that constant flow and that constant stream that once you step into it, it's going to change you. And that change may not be as pleasant as you would like it to be. So the magician looks beyond duality. That's part of the key. The everyday layman wants to say it's got to be this or it has to be that. And that's one of the reasons why they have so many problems manifesting things, because manifestation comes through the conjoining of dissimilar energies, whether it be light with darkness, water with earth, male with female, positive with negative. These are the things that create a response, a protracted response going forward. But light and light don't create anything. Dark and dark don't create anything, So the magician looks to not only combine these different polarities, but to see the wholeness in everything. So they understand that even when there are rituals done or there are procedures done and things do not completely manifest as desired, there is still success, because there's success in failure. If we recognize and admit to the polarity of things that happen on this plane, if we push things to the right, something has been shifted to the left. If we push things up, something has been shifted down. So if we move towards a succession or success, then something has failed. If we move into failure, something has succeeded. So the key is to kind of sit back and look at, sometimes you have to sit back and look at the holistic procedure that's going on in the moment. Like, okay, man, I did this ritual to manifest the 5,000. I only manifested a nickel. I failed. But there also has to be a success, and it's there. You just have to have the eyes to see it. See, the cosmos is always talking. It's never quiet. It's always talking. There is no real vacuum. So through our communing and our divining, we understand that. We understand that the stream is always there, the communication is always there. It's just that often we don't have faith in what we're seeing or what we're experiencing as that being a part of the process. Sometimes our instincts are messed up. Sometimes our intuition is shot. Sometimes the character of our spirits has become severely distorted and perverted. You see, so it's not just so easy as to say, well, just trust in yourself. That's what people like to say. Don't listen to anybody, listen to yourself. Well, you got to know what the self is first. A lot of times you don't know the difference between the voice of a parasite in your intestines and versus your own mind, versus your own brain, versus your own spirit, versus your own Ori speaking. We didn't even get the ancestors yet. Which one is communicating? Because each one has its own voice. No different than how different bodies of water have their own properties. You see? And when you understand the different properties, then you'll know who's talking. You'll know, oh, this is the water from so-and-so. This moves like that. You'll know the voice of the guardians and the energies that are around you, through the expansion of consciousness. But one of the things that you have to take on as one who is striving to be a great manifester, or one who is striving to be the magician or have the mind of the magician, is you have to remove this egoic idea of what is. Remove the boxes. If you look in tarot, you'll find that right after the station of the fool, you have the magician. It's kind of interesting. It goes right from fool to magician, because the fool is willing to have no ego. The fool is willing to let go. It's like the Joker card, just willing to be whatever needs to be in the moment. It loses its sense of decorum. It loses its sense of decency. It loses its sense of etiquette. It loses its idea of profanity, and just enjoys the moment. You see, and then we laugh. Oh, look at him over there dancing like that, or singing like that off key. Yeah, look, what a fool. Then it goes right from the fool to manifesting. Isn't that interesting? Once you lose the ego, which is a grand blockage to the stream, you break it open, and now the flow can come through, and you can be the magician, and you can manifest. You see, so that idea of losing oneself, losing what you believe yourself to be, or just losing what you believe, can be very powerful. And it's the first place we have to go, because it can be one of the most difficult things for us to do. And if we don't get beyond that, we never really manifest anything. We may do little rituals here and there and get little small results and say, okay, well, it's working. But you notice many of us don't continue to do certain things that have not fully produced for us. We'll I need 5,000. We'll come up with 2,500, and we'll say, oh, that's great, because we're just so used to taking less. And I'd say a lot of that is also the fault of Western culture, America in particular. America is great at defeating confidence. It will make you feel like you are nothing, never will be anything, and never have been anything. And because of that, you accept anything. You see, so someone comes and violates your rights, and it's just the way it is. They brutalize you, man. Because America is really good at killing confidence. But when you start to, and that's a part of the blockage of the stream, when you start to remove those blockages, and you start to feel the presence. Like when people say, oh, I felt the spirit, or I felt the power, it's usually presence they felt. It's a difference. I spoke about that on another, I think a Chief Speaks once. The difference between the presence of the spirit and the power of the spirit. But when you start to feel that and say, whoa, look at this power that's flowing through me. Sometimes we get little, notions of it. We get an itch, or we get hot in certain areas and things like that. That's one of the streams looking to come through, you know, and it starts to give you a better sense of self. You know, staying in ritual is important. It's very important. It helps to align the community, but make sure that the community sees each other in their most pure form so they can see the real each other, you see. And that happens even within the body of self. Because remember, you're a community unto yourself. You know, so your ego needs to see your drive in pure form, your will. It needs to see it in pure form. Your brain needs to see your compassion in pure form. You see, all these things happen through various rituals because the different rituals instigate different aspects of your consciousness. And when those different aspects of your consciousness are stimulated and instigated, then the flow loosens up. You know, the sludge that lies in the path begins to loosen up and you can flow the way you need to flow. And one of the greatest tools to getting to that place is seeing the holism of who and what you are, seeing the holism of your divinity. You know, we may be, as those, as humans and those impersonating humans, we may be confined to a dualistic reality, but our consciousness isn't. Remember, our consciousness doesn't live here. Our consciousness lives in another realm. So that's why it's able to stay free of dualism. But it is the unseen that governs and controls the seen. But when we're stuck in that root chakra, or we're unwilling to be the fool, we begin to project the seen onto the unseen. So we say, God is like this because man is like this. The divine is not stuck in duality. You are. You know, you think about the ideas that we have as it relates to God and the devil. And I'm using these terms just because I know it's easier sometimes. As far as God, anything be God. My shirt could be God. You know, I don't give too much credence to the word God because I know what the word means. Devil, there's nothing wrong with a devi or a devil or even evil. You know, these are all things that I get cozy with because that's the stuff everyone's scared of and keeps in the dark. Well, what's in the dark? Light. So you got to go in that dark. You know, so I cozy up with those energies. But again, just for the sake of the conversation, those energies work together. God and the devil, they work together. How could you ever localize and minimize your divinity to be so small that it could only be one way and that it could actually have a converse opposite? How weak is that? That either I have to be like this, and if it's not me, I have an equal evil twin over here. Kind of crap deity is that? You'd be an idiot to serve something like that. Honestly, you'd be an idiot to serve something like that. Because then which one do I serve? At some point you realize that we're talking about the same entity. We're talking about the star of the morning, and we're talking about the bright and morning star. It's the same freaking star. It's the same entity. It's just that with our dualistic mind, we have to split everything down the middle, which is, you know, which is part of the blockage. The love energy recombines. It conjoins. And when things are recombined and reconjoined, then we can produce a new understanding. That's where the new eras are produced. You know, you think about, I was speaking to someone recently, good brother. He's not a pastor, but he runs a very large, like Christian study group. So, I speak to him. He doesn't totally understand or know what I do, but He's a good person, and that's what's important to me. And so we were building, and I was sharing some Hebraic terms with him. He was trying to figure out something for something he wanted to share with his group. And, so I was just sharing some of the Hebraic ideas with him. And what was really important was just in his idea, in his conceptualization of what he considered his deity to be. He forced it really to a right hand movement. Strong definitions of it's this, it's that, it's gotta be this, it's gotta be that, it's gotta be that. And I shared with him similar that anything that would push that heart to one side is not worth worshiping. Anything that couldn't see things as a whole but splits everything in half is not worth even being around. The deities that you should work with should teach you how to master the light, and they should teach you how to master the dark. That's the vibration you really want to come from. I want to master light and dark. And in order to do that, I need to work with a team that's working with both. You see? Because again, our conceptions of light, our conceptions of dark, a lot of times they come from a place of misunderstanding. So that's what I was sharing with him, to get back to that. We were speaking about the term shalom. And I was explaining to him how at one point it was thought that at night the sun would die, it would go down into into hell, and it would battle. And if it won, it would come back again. It would resurrect in the dawning. And so there was a good morning. We're mourning, but it was good because you came back. And then as we evolve our awareness, we understand that sun didn't die. The sun is still there, but because of the angulation of the planet, we see it differently at different times. Sometimes we see a reflection, sometimes we see it, wholly. So, but the truth is that it didn't go anywhere. It's still here. So that now changes our even metaphysical and conscious understanding of something overcoming another thing. That right there opens us up to understand that no, light didn't overcome darkness. That process didn't even happen. Now we can look at it, from an allegorical sense, and we can make stories about it. It's very interesting. We can come up with celebrations like the vernal equinox and Easter and things like that. But the truth is, that Son of Man was there, and you went to sleep, and it was still there. You could have got on a plane and went to another part of the world, and it would be sun. It's still there. It's not going anywhere. So then that alone should shift your entire perception of your death. That alone. You have a Son of Man, a lamp that gets polished, right? And then when it gets polished, your twin appears. But it's always been and always will be. It has no birth record. We've heard that one before, right? Just like the sun. Always been, always will be. It doesn't die overnight. And during the winter time, it isn't overcome by darkness because the days are shorter, the nights are longer. These are just conceptuations and ideations for us to develop a certain sense of morality. But the magician sees it all and sees those physical, cosmic, and astronomical events as signs and symbols of how to master dark, master light, and open up the streams of consciousness for pure and instant manifestation. So we're going to get into this more, of course, this month, dealing with the magician. If there's anything that I said that you need some clarity on, please leave a comment underneath this video. Also, 14 Keys will be out October 14th. You can pre-order your copy now on Kindle, and then it will download to your device on the 14th of October, and also for the paperback as well will be released on October 14th. So I'm releasing like a series of clips from the class, because there's a class too that's associated with the book. The book is only the beginning. It's just to open up that stream of consciousness so we can move further into manifesting the highest ideas of those keys. But if you go to the YouTube channel, the Sadulu House YouTube channel, youtube.com/SADULUHOUSE, you can see the series of videos. The first one went out yesterday, and there will be 14 clips, we'll say, leading up to October 14th to the release of the book. So you can go there, check them out, get just some ideas and kind of get a sense of what we're dealing with. And please subscribe to that Sadula House channel, because I'm going to be putting some more instructionals and things up there. I know we have a lot of channels, but we kind of keep things separate because we deal with so many different topics, and probably could have just done it all with different playlists in hindsight. But it's good too, because like for instance, my Facebook profile was suspended a couple of days ago. I don't even use it, as many of you know. I don't really have my own personal profile. I had one, but I don't use it for anything really. And I sent 1 or 2 messages, and they said I had to send them government ID if I wanted to have the profile reinstated. So I know that's the thing that they've been doing with people who have been reported to broadcast inappropriate information. So I don't use the profile, so there's no broadcasting of anything. But you know how that goes. So sometimes it's good to have backups too of your channels or whatever, just in the event that the strengths that be like to do certain things to you. But it doesn't stop anything. This steel and iron train is driving forward, and it's got a big Anu stamped on the side of it, and nothing is going to stop us from moving to where we need to move to. All right. So I want to thank also those of you who have sent in offerings for the Africa Initiative. That is going really well, and I would love to show you all some media from some of the work that we've been doing over there, but honestly, Ifa says no. Okay. So just so you know, if you're wondering like, why isn't he posting any pictures? One, because I've always kept it very private all these years, but recently I've been like, oh, maybe it's time to share some of that, and Ifa has consistently told me no. So I flow with spirit. But I still want to thank you all who have sent in offerings for Sadulu House, as well as for the Africa Initiative and all of the different things. It really does help to keep things moving over there, and for the youth that we sponsor. Some of those youth are now going into university now. So as you all know, I've been rocking that out of pocket, and for the most part I still do, but the offerings definitely help. They definitely help to do some other things. Sometimes things come up that are needed. People need medicine, they get sick. Sometimes school fees go up, which all the time school fees go up. They always playing. Sometimes the governments over there, they are not as sensitive to people's situations, so little things happen. So those things, the contributions help immensely. So I want to thank everyone who has sent in offerings in that regard. And we're moving forward. And if you're not a member of our New Life Global Ministries, definitely head over and sign up. ournewlifeglobal.org is the website, ournewlifeglobal.org. And for spiritual training, our new spiritual training is at Sadulu House. SADULUHOUSC.com. As many times as I spell that, right? But you become a student, you can become a member, you can get involved. You can get involved, all right? So until such time, when there is more time, I'm Chief Yuya. I want to thank you all for listening, and we're going to be diving more into the idea and the function of the magician. And be sure, if you're on the lookout, get your copy of the 14 Keys. And it's not, it's a, as with all my books, quick read. It's a quick read. And after this one, I have some Orisha books that I'll be putting out. I'm aiming pre-Kwanzaa, before the end of this Roman year, to get them out. Like I said, the long part in quote unquote writing for me is not writing, because I write very quickly. It's the condensing, shortening, saying more by saying less. I try to really remove the conventionality that many of us take on through Western programming, that the bigger your book is, the better it is, the more valuable it is, the more complex your words that you use, the more intelligent the book. So I really try to make things as simple and even as small and accessible as possible. So I have probably about 6 books that are just sitting unpublished. No, 7. I also have a marriage manual. That's also unpublished. And it's really just a matter of taking the time to condense them and make them smaller and more accessible. So yeah, I'm excited about the Orisha work as well. But for right now, we're on his 14 keys, So, I will see you all next Sunday. And, well, no, I'll see you all today, tomorrow, because we're going to be doing video countdowns up into the 14th. So there'll be a video release every day. Just make sure you go to Sadulu House YouTube channel, youtube.com/Sadulu House, and subscribe to that channel so that way you can get those. All right. And I'm also on social media as Chief Yuya as well. I don't use them that much. I'm getting into it. I guess when I get into it, they kill my accounts. But anyway, I will see you all very soon. All right. Until such time, Odabo.